Hey Buns, today just want to do a quick recap of the first live letter about patch 6.2. Now patch 6.2 is scheduled to come out in late August. We don't have an exact day yet, but we did find out today that it will be late August. And there will be another live letter between now and then that's going to give us more information about this patch. That will be part 2. But today we just had part 1 and we learned a lot of exciting stuff and I can't wait to get into it in case you weren't able to watch it live. I'm going to go over all the main points and main things that we learned here now. But very quickly, I want to talk about patch 6.18, which is going to release this upcoming Tuesday, July 5th. Now, it is going to bring in the new PvP season, not series. Series is different from a season. The PvP series, which involves, the series Mom Stones, that whole window of rewards, that is going to stay the same until patch 6.2, which we expect, like I said, end of August. Also, the PvP mode Rival Wings will return in patch 6.2, but the PvP season, which mostly concerns Crystalline Conflict and ranking up in Crystalline Conflict, that will end on Tuesday. We're going to have season 2 begin on this upcoming Tuesday. So if you want to get the season-specific ranking rewards like adventure plates, possibly titles, then you want to get that done, rank up over the weekend, get it done before Tuesday when the new season begins. Also, there will be a 24-hour maintenance prior to the release of patch 6.18 this upcoming Tuesday. So if you happen to be an American and you had the day off for July 4th and wanted to sit home and play Apollo 14, unfortunately, that is a no-go. You will either have to play something else or, God forbid, go outside like grill on July 4th. The title for this patch is Buried Memory, and there will be new main story quests, which they obviously can't say much about in a live letter, but they did show us a couple of mysterious screenshots, and we know that there will be a new main story quest dungeon called the Fell Court of Troya. They showed us a couple screenshots of it, and chat asked if the first one was Yoshiyuki's house. Like, do they think that Square Enix just keeps him in the dungeon and like pulls him out to work on the board of directors and work on the Final Fantasy 16? Final Fantasy 14. They also showed another screenshot of the dungeon and Yoshiyuki said that that is where the GMs live. That is where they are before they go to work. And there will be a new trial, of course, with a normal and an extreme version. There's nothing that they can tell us about that besides give a PowerPoint slide with a bunch of question marks on it. And no, the number of question marks does not correlate to the number of letters in the name of the boss that we're going to fight, so don't even try to work that one out. The Tantaru's Grand Adventure side quest series will continue, and it will now require you to complete the Void Arc questline, the Shadow of Miyak questline, which totally doesn't mean that Tantaru is a void set. We're going to find out Tantaru lore in the Void Arc. With patch 6.2, we are also going to get the new Savage rating tier, which is Pandemonium Abyssos. I'm super happy about this. Like, people who cleared the Savage tier a while ago were pretty happy to finally be able to hop back into rating again. But this time they're going to do things a little bit different. So normally when they release the raid tier, normal mode and Savage comes out on the same day. But this time they are going to delay the release of Savage by a week. And this is a fantastic change because it means people who would normally try to go for a week 1 clear or world first proggers, they are going to have a week delay, so that way they're going to be able to enjoy the story, the main story, when it comes out on patch day, even enjoy the raid story and not feel rushed to get through it as quickly as possible, have some more time to gear up, and in future patches, I think when there might be some tuning changes to jobs, then they'll have more time to adjust to that. But they did also say that this is a test run. They're going to see how this goes, monitor player feedback, and if it goes well, they'll keep doing it. But if it goes horribly, then they probably won't do the next Savage tier that way. But hey, I think that most people are going to be happy about this. They did show us a screenshot of the new Pandemonium raid, and you can see some spider goo and like, I guess it's webs and ectoplasm around. I guess they took it out of Noirax and had to put it somewhere. And as for job adjustments and tuning, there will be some PvE and PvP adjustments, but the major changes that have been announced for Astrologian and Dragoon are not coming in patch 6.2. They're going to come at a later date because apparently there was too much that was needed. There was too much for them to do to fit into this patch. a lot of the Dragoons that I've spoken to don't seem to think that their job really needs significant changes. But in the past, Yoshiyuki has said that they have determined that the Dragoon job is too busy and it needs to cut down on button bloat. This is something that has some Dragoon players concerned, as they're relatively happy with the current state of their job, but we'll just have to see in future live letters what they actually plan to do with it. Dragoons can unclench their cheeks for now, at least. Well, I mean, not all the way. I guess you can half clench cheeks. They've announced the new Unreal trial for patch 6.2, and it is Sephiroth. Yes, I'm super excited because it's one of my favorite fights in the whole game. This is a fight that I tanked when I was brand new to the game, and I was maining tank at the time, and it was just such an incredible experience and such a feeling of accomplishment because it was not an easy fight. Though I do have a couple of concerns because people in the chat during the stream were calling me an FF boomer because back in my day, it was harder. Like, I feel like it's not going to be as hard as it was when I did it, because Yoshiyuki did say that, you know, the Earthshaker mechanic where two people get targeted, you know how that had proximity damage with it. Like, if you're too close to the person who got targeted with an Earthshaker, you're gonna die probably. Well, they removed that proximity damage. And they also said that tanks were melting during the ad phase. So they had to make adjustments to that, so that tanks won't take so much damage. And I got really upset about this because I was a new tank at the time. I did not really know what I was doing that well. And if I could have handled it, then I think anybody could handle it, honestly. My other concern is that recently they made a change to the Sephiroth fight and Titan and a couple other fights where, like, if you get knocked off the arena, then you cannot be rezzed. And that's one of the things that made Sephiroth such a high stakes fight, because there were times when if you fall off, you get knocked off, you're not coming back. Like, that's it. So they have changed that in the current live version of Sephiroth, and I wonder if it's going to be like that in Unreal 2. My guess is probably, which is honestly, in my opinion, a little bit lame, but that's just my opinion, okay? They've also announced some planned adjustments to critical and direct hit, because there are skills that guarantee critical and direct hits. And so if you have a job that uses those skills, then if you get a buff that increases your crit or direct hit rate, then it seems kind of useless. So they want to implement adjustments here that they're going to talk about more in the next live letter. We are going to be getting some new Hildebrand quests with patch 6.25. Now, that's not with the main patch, but in a minor patch that will release a little while after 6.2. And there's also going to be the new Relic weapon quest in patch 6.25 as well. And when this was first announced in my stream, we all thought it was a joke. We all thought it was a meme because it's so unexpected and so crazy and so out of left field. Like, and never in a million years would I have guessed that, in fact, the Relic weapon quest line for this expansion is going to be tied into Hildebrand side quests. So yes, the new weapon enhancement quests, aka Relic quests, are going to be unlocked in somehow further Hildebrand adventures. These are the legendary Vanderbilt weapons. Yes, quest-centric progression with updates throughout the expansion. Now, this has been a little bit controversial. This definitely caused quite a stir whenever I was streaming today. There's been a lot of discussion about it. I'm sure that there is a lot of molding going on about this, and I want to take a minute to sort of address some of that because it's normal, it's natural, I think, to be shocked, because in the beginning I just couldn't believe it. I was like, this has to be a joke. This has to be a meme. I can't believe this. But after letting it simmer a little bit and accepting that this Relic questline is going to feel different, it's just going to be different than previous expansion Relic questlines, now I think it could be fun. I really don't know what to expect. I'm just going to go through it with an open mind and try to enjoy something a little bit different this time, a little bit more out of the box, and it could be fun. I don't know. I don't know what the quests are going to involve. I don't know how comedic they're going to be. And honestly, I'm down for whatever. There is actually right now on the general forums a huge thread that last time I checked, it had like 18 pages on it, and the live letter ended not even that long ago. It's called Hildebrand for Relic, really, and there's a lot of people who are just like, there's a whole discourse surrounding this decision right now. But in some ways, I'm kind of glad that Square Enix decided to do something different this time, like maybe take a risk and do something refreshing. That's not going to feel like every other Relic Weapon questline that we've ever got. It's going to feel like something totally new and different. I think that could be healthy for the game for them to do that kind of thing more often. So I have an open mind about it, like I said. Right now, I generally feel like people are massively overreacting and they're making way too many assumptions, and they should probably just cool it and chill out and see what it's like when it's in the game. The new tribal quest will be coming in patch 6.25 as well, and that is going to be the Omicrons, not the Loporus, as many people were expecting. Yoshiyuki did say that one of the Loporits went rogue on the Final Fantasy 14 Twitter account recently, tweeting way, as some of you may have seen. My theory is that he saw FF14 Twitter and then went back to his people and said, you know, maybe we shouldn't be a beast tribe. Get the Omicrons, maybe just make somebody else do it. We need some space. As for the devs' continuing endeavor to make the game more solo-friendly, there will be 5 new dungeons added to duty support with patch 6.2. That includes Snowcloak, the Keeper of the Lake, Psalm All, the Airy, and the Vault. And we actually saw a screenshot of some characters that could be involved in duty support. And also the Steps of Faith will be a solo quest battle. They also announced that Thorn March will be revamped because as the first 8-man trial in the story, it's a bit too difficult. He said a veteran might be disappointed by the content now, so no need to instantly go try it out. Haha, wait for it to be in your roulette. So he basically said that the FF boomers are going to say it's too easy now. But before we could get too upset about that, he announced a feature that should surely make everybody happy, FF boomers included, and that is the variant dungeons and criterion dungeons. I am so hyped about this. I'm gonna say humped again. Hyped and pumped. Humped about this. Okay, so variant dungeons. This is a level 90 casual play for 1 to 4 people. If you do a match party, it's gonna be 4 people. It's a variable difficulty dungeons previously introduced as criterion dungeons. This is variant dungeons we're talking about right now. No role restrictions, job changes are okay. Enemy strength determined by party size, route of progression branches based on player actions. So this is a story experience with branching pathways depending on the things that you do in there, the choices that you make. This first variant dungeon is the Silden Subterrane, and you will be exploring the depths alongside a certain someone. Now, of course, they didn't tell us who that would be, but they did say that there will be an NPC that will walk with you, and they do talk quite a bit. Depending on the route progression, the story will be different. If you want to enjoy the whole story, you'll have to rerun the dungeon a couple of times. They showed us a screenshot of the Silden Subterrane and said that there's a lot of great places inside for doing GPOs and taking screenshots. They will add more variant dungeons later, not in every single patch, but they have planned another 2 for Endwalker. Now, all that sounds well and good, but a lot of us had been really hoping for a difficult small group content, and it seems that our prayers have been answered. He announced another battle content mode for player content, high difficulty criterion dungeons. The party composition for these will be fixed. You need a tank, a healer, and 2 DPS for this. And there's 2 versions of criterion dungeons. So in both, while they are visually similar to the variant dungeons, you're not going to have an NPC accompanying you, and the route is predetermined. The structure and enemy strength are going to be entirely different. Yoshiyuki did say that there were a lot of requests for this, especially from overseas. I think he's talking about us specifically, actually. I know I definitely made my voice pretty loud about this. So in another Silden Subterrane, not the Savage version, just the plain ass version, ASS version, the normal methods of resurrecting people will be prohibited. But each player is going to be granted a limited number of revival actions. There is a matching system. If you have a party of less than 4 people, you can match to go into ass together. This joke is like, I'm going to wear out this joke before the criterion dungeons even get here, I swear. And if your party wipes, then all the enemies that you've already killed are not going to revive. However, in the Savage version, you need to pre-form a party of 4 people. There's no matching for this. You have to find your own group of people for this. All methods of resurrection are prohibited. There is no way to res. All defeated enemies will revive after your party wipes. And enemies become much stronger if not defeated within a certain time limit. This sounds well and truly difficult. I am so happy about it because one of my favorite pieces of content in this entire game is Valdesian Arsenal. And one of the things that made that content so fun and so engaging and so high stakes was the fact that the resurrection was limited. You had to be very careful, and there was a risk involved with resurrecting anyone at all. So I think that's something that gave a lot of fun and flavor to BA. And so seeing some of that, or even a more extreme degree of that, with no rezzing allowed at all in the Savage version of these Criterion dungeons, is going to make them really fun and great. I'm very hyped about it. Okay. Another thing I'm really happy about with the Variant and Criterion dungeons is that it seems like they've got something for everybody. Like, you have the Variant dungeons, which is story, casual content, and don't get me wrong, like, I love that as well. I'm looking forward to going through all the different branching pathways and like soaking up all the story that I can, and just having that chill, like, screenshot G-pose experience in there. And then also they have the, you know, extreme type difficulty of the dungeon and the savage type difficulty of the dungeon. I just cannot wait to get my hands on it, but I think it's 6.25, like I said before, so we have to wait a little bit longer for that to come, but I'm sure that it will be well worth the wait, or at least I hope so. It's something we've been asking for, and I'm glad to see yet again they listen to what players have demanded and try to deliver on it. For Island Sanctuary, we did get a good bit of information about it, finally, though not everything. I think we'll find out a lot more in the next live letter, but we did learn that everybody is going to get their own island, and they did show us a screenshot. There was only one screenshot that they could show us today of the Island Sanctuary, and it's certainly exciting to see that. Looks like there's a little beach there, perhaps a place to dock a ship, perhaps somewhere that seamen could unload their cargo. So it's casual solo gameplay where you can gather materials, care for creatures, build facilities, craft items, and more. Build facilities obviously like perked up a lot of ears, wondering, you know, what kind of facilities, what can that involve? But they did not talk about building any kind of buildings today in this live letter. I think we'll have to wait till the next live letter to learn more about that. But they did say that no experience as a crafter or gatherer is required. This is completely separate from that. You'll be gathering materials from nature. These materials are island specific and take up a separate inventory space. They'll not be cluttering your normal inventory. You'll be crafting tools from gathered materials. These tools will help you harvest new resources more effectively. You can grow crops. Planting and cultivating seeds that you find on the island is completely separate from the normal gardening system, from housing, and you can collect and care for various creatures, keeping an eye out for rare coloring and unique critters. So this makes me wonder, is this a way that we can hunt down rare minions and mounts? That would be awesome. I would love that. Also, building the base of operations, customizing its appearance, and unlocking further tools for development. Again, very little info about what building will entail. And releasing the minions. Your favorite minions can wander freely within your base. You can name the animals that you capture too, and you can make handicrafts, apparently, collecting material to make handicrafts and export them. Try to align exports with market demand for the best possible results. Now, I heard that and I thought, oh my gosh, this is the way that we're going to get rich. We can put all this stuff on the market board and get rich. Well, I don't think so, because then it also says gameplay is not affected by other players' actions. Handicrafts will be sold for island-specific currency, not gil. Okay, so before we get ahead of ourselves, this is not a profiteering scheme here. It's meant to be chill in every way. You can earn rewards exchanging that accumulated island currency for special items, and also the mount speed will be very fast, apparently. You're going to be able to unlock flying with mounts on your island at some point in the future, and you're going to be zipping and zooming around pretty quickly with no ether currents that are required to do that. The Twitch chat was asking Yoshiyuki if he could get NPCs to wander around the island, and I second that. I would really like Estinian to be wandering around my island, and he said, well, if players make a big enough fuss about it, then they'll probably do it. So make a fuss about it, is what I'm saying. You can also socialize with friends on your island sanctuary. You can invite visitors or travel to the islands of friends and free company members, which is really awesome. And Yoshiyuki said that it's not like Minecraft, it is FF14 after all. The weather will change, of course, but it's going to be usually sunny. And I would already like to request that you let us control the weather on our island, just not only for G-pose purposes, but also because I like it to rain all the time. I would prefer it if it's just always rainy. They also said that they're still testing it, but that you should be able to put an orchestrion down in the base, though the further you get away from it, the more far away it will sound. I like where they're going with this. Like, why don't you try testing other furnitures and, I don't know, housing exteriors as while you're at it. Just go ahead. So that's all they had to share about Island Sanctuary today. For the rest of the info, we're gonna have to wait until the next live letter. I don't think it's exactly instance housing, but it seems like something sort of similar, something that is maybe a reimagination of your personal space as a player, something that you can have a lot of fun in, and there's a lot more stuff to do even than in your house. So I'm looking forward to hearing what else they have to say. It just seems like they weren't ready to hit us with such a big load of info all at once. In patch 6.2, the adventure plates and portraits will be officially released and the beta version will end. Yes, this current version of adventure plates has been beta. And bad news, all of your portraits will be deleted with the patch. Yes, they had to completely rebuild the portrait linking system because it was too confusing. They ended up with a lot of player characters just standing there with no expression. They have adjusted it so that your adventure plate will be edited within the adventure plate settings. The gear set list will be displayed in the portrait interface, allowing players to create a corresponding portrait for each gear set. Way easier to deal with, so that your gear will be more predictable of like what's actually going to be in the portrait. Will be the gear that you saved for that set. Should be pretty straightforward. Also, right now, they said the portrait is only shown in Crystal and Conflict. In 6.2, they will add it to Mahjong as well. They're still working on getting the portraits to show in Dungeons too. They haven't finished that feature yet, but that will be coming later on. They are going to be implementing new poses and animations like Limit Break too. The Allegan Tombstones of Casualty will be, Causality will be added. The new high item level crafted gear will be added, of course, as we always expect, with the new Savage Raid tier being added, and you will be able to request repairs from other players both in and outside the duty. So that means if you ask a Reaper to repair your gear, then they can be the Grim Reaper. Also updated the displays of actions in your action list so you can see the combos, which is going to be super helpful for new players to more visually work out how their rotation all fits together, and you'll be able to see actions upgraded by level. Though, of course, if you prefer the standard view, you can swap to that in the bottom right. There's going to be a button, just change it back to the way it was before. If you don't like the upgraded version, but it honestly looks so much better, I don't know why anyone would go back to the standard way. The glamour dresser capacity will be increased to 800. Yeah. And when Yoshiyuki announced that, he also said, but I know you guys, you're going to complain in 3 months that this isn't enough. But joke's on him, because it only took about 3 seconds for people to complain it's not enough. We need way more than that, but it's still good. It's still way better thanks to the server team. And other miscellaneous updates. Rare materials will be added to ethereal reductions performed by miners, botanists, and fishers. These are materials not used in crafting battle-related items. And there will be adjustments to the order of certain return to Ivalice quests. In accordance with this quest, make and bacon bread and walk on by will become unavailable. In the next live letter, Yoshiyuki said that he is going to be showing a lot of these things with in-game footage. So the next live letter is going to be a pretty big deal. We're going to see the trailer for patch 6.2. We are going to see probably a look inside the new Pandemonium raid. We're going to see the Island Sanctuary without a doubt. And we'll see the inside of the Criterion dungeons as well. And maybe even the inside of the first trial, maybe even a little bit of the first dungeon. There's actually a ton of content coming in this patch, so there's a lot to be excited about already. There's a lot of good news today, and I'm feeling really happy about how the live letter went overall. There was a lot of trepidation and worry beforehand, but overall, I think that it's mostly really good news. So let me know what you're most excited about that's coming in patch 6.2 based on what we've heard today. For me, I think it's an even split between Island Sanctuary and the Savage Criterion dungeons. Like, that's, to me, that's one of the most exciting features that they have ever added to the game or talked about adding to the game. So I have a lot of, I have really high expectations for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, I just can't wait. I'm like waiting very impatiently for the patch to get here in late August. We don't have the exact day, but yeah, late August is when we can expect that patch. And to Criterion Dungeons, though, that's 6.25. Buns, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. I hope you found it informative. If you did, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon or on Twitch. But you can also support this channel for free by clicking the subscribe button or by sharing this video with your fellow Warriors of Light. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.